What is up, mortals? What if Deku had a super speed quirk? Season 2 Part 1. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the story. A man with red hair and blue eyes picked up one of the white creatures and examined it. When the man looked at the creature's arms, he noticed that the left arm ended at the elbow. The creature was also similarly missing its left leg. The man put the body back on the ground before he went to the next one. The man stopped at one Namu that was stuck in the wall of the stadium. The red-haired man examined the crater that the creature was stuck in. Its limbs were twisted at odd angles. The man released a burst of fire to weaken the wall that the Namu was in. He then grabbed the Namu and pulled it out of the wall. Aside from the bruising near the right side of its rib cage, no other wounds were present. For the next few minutes, the man moved bodies into 6 rows with 10 in each row. A boy with red and white hair coldly watched as the man started to move the bodies. "Why are moving the creatures around?" The red and white-haired boy coldly asked as he continued to watch. "It makes it easier to find them. We can't afford to miss one later," the man with red hair said with a grimace. "Given our lack of manpower, we need to be as efficient as possible." Once the man finished moving the bodies, he looked around at the stadium. The announcer's booth only had jagged shards of glass where the windows should be. The booth was cracked in several places, with pieces of booth starting to fall off. The arena had several craters in it from where the Namu landed. The area near the man was covered in scorch marks. The area around the man was lined with small craters. The man walked away from the area he was just in. He walked in the direction that the crater was in. The first thing that caught the person's attention was the smell of burning flesh. He stopped as he came to some burn marks on the ground. Endeavor followed the burn marks to his left towards one of the stadium walls. The walls were also covered in burn marks. "It seems I was right to doubt the quirk description," the number 2 hero said to no one in particular as he examined the wall. "Who did this? It feels like I should recognize the burn marks," the boy coldly as he made an ice ramp. "One of your classmates did this," Endeavor said as he considered how many civilians got injured or worse, killed. This attack was extremely well thought out. All Might was right to take the threat as seriously as he did. The red-haired man walked up the ramp after he patted his son on the back in appreciation. The burn mark started heading in a diagonal path. This part of the seating area was covered in craters and scorch marks. The stands were littered with Namu that had burn marks and broken bones. Only 29 of the white creatures lacked any burn marks. A smile started to appear on the number 2 hero's stern face. The tension that had been building up in the man started to dissipate. With a sigh of relief, the man followed the scorch marks. Pieces of fabric littered the ground. The scorch marks slowly began to blend together as the marks started to intersect. As the pro hero examined the floor, he noticed small amounts of dried blood on the ground. Endeavor saw that a few pieces of debris were embedded into the floor as if someone threw them there. While the pro heroes and the police worked tirelessly to arrest the criminals, the principal Nezu announced that every student would be required to live on campus because of the attack. Nezu went on to announce classes were cancelled for the general studies and support students. The small white-furred principal went on to explain that the hero students had to come in because the attack would prevent them from interning at a hero agency. The principal thanked everyone, including the students, for protecting the innocent bystanders during the attack. The principal then held a moment of silence for those who lost their lives at the hospital. His final announcement was that UA would donate supplies and money to help rebuild the hospital. The announcement came as a surprise to most of the students. The following morning, a blonde-haired boy was walking into UA when a classmate of his greeted him. The red-haired boy was talking to a brown-haired girl when he started waving at the boy. The explosive blonde walked over to them and waved. "At least we can see our fellow classmates," the blonde-haired boy grumbled as he scratched the cast on his right arm. "Next time I see that Warpgate bastard, I'm blasting him to hell." "That doesn't sound very heroic. Have either of you received an update on Ida or Midoriya?" the red-headed boy asked. "Last I heard, he was in serious condition. I'm just happy that All Might was able to arrive in time to save Deku," the brunette happily said as she bounced up and down. "I haven't heard anything new about Deku. After what happened yesterday, I'm considering giving that nerd a new nickname," the explosive blonde grumbled as he smiled. "I need to train harder. I won't let him pull ahead of me. I can't believe we have to go to school this week," the red-headed boy complained. "At least we can see our injured classmates. Besides, if we want to be heroes, we can't let a group of extras get in our way," the blonde-haired boy said in frustration as he released a small explosion from his left hand. "We better head to class." Aizawa said he wouldn't tolerate tardiness. With that, the atomic blonde walked off, leaving the other two just standing there. The atmosphere in the classroom was quieter than normal. Everyone looked nervous and scared. Most of the students wore a cast. Only the blue-haired boy and the green-haired boy were absent. With a sigh, Katsuki grumbled as he went to his seat. It was annoying that everyone in the class was injured. The anger that the blonde felt only fueled his desire to get even stronger. After a few minutes, the two students he talked to outside entered the classroom and took their seats. 30 seconds later, a sleep-deprived man entered the class dressed in all black. Class 1 gasped as their teacher's messy appearance. As you all know, the sports festival ended in a complete disaster. Due to the attack, there won't be a hero internship this year, the sleep-deprived teacher said in annoyance. Instead of ranking you by the number of internship offers you received, we will be ranking you based on performance. The class looked around nervously as Aizawa began to display the results on the board. After a few seconds, the tired pro hero let out a sigh. He stared at his class before bringing up images of the hospital next to the point values on the board. Everyone performed admirably yesterday. For the rest of the week, we will be discussing what each person experienced, Aizawa stated, sounding unusually happy. The reason I pulled up the images of the hospital is to show each of you what might have happened if you weren't there. Yes, the villain that caused it never appeared here, but let this serve as a lesson. If the attack on UA and the hospital bothers you, then use that to motivate you. Use it as motivation to get strong enough to prevent this catastrophe from happening. Aizawa let the first picture stay on the board for a bit. The photo showed a parking lot covered in trees ripped from the ground, asphalt resting on top of cars that were overturned or cut in half, and several dead police officers. The next picture was even worse as it showed the outside of the hospital. Several support columns had been hastily connected to the building to prevent it from collapsing and killing everyone inside the building. The building was missing most of the bottom floors. Pipes were dumping water and sewage out. Wires were sparking with electricity. Several parts of the building were smoking as a lasting reminder that there was a fire there. As the picture got closer, the horror of the attack truly set in. One picture showed several limbs trapped at odd angles beneath a pile of rubble. In that same image, a man was impaled mere inches from that pile of rubble. After that, the images showed what the heroes saw when they went in to try and save people. After the last photo, a few words appeared. It told everyone to remember what they say and use the incident as a motivator to become great heroes. Principal Nezu advised us to show you the less gruesome images. Based on the room's morale, I made the right choice to ignore him, the pro hero stated with a smile. Yes, this is a traumatizing incident. No, you are not worthless or weak if this affects you. All it means is you're human. As a teacher, I couldn't be happier with the courage you displayed out there. Ada will be returning to class tomorrow. Aside from a broken leg, he's fully healed at this point. The teacher looked around the classroom before his phone started to buzz. His face was unreadable as he scrolled through the messages he was receiving. He quickly wrote on the board for the class to stay in their seats before leaving the room sprinting. Their teacher, suddenly leaving the room, stirred the class into a panic because he left without ever explaining how their green-haired classmate was doing. The strange action caused the class to start muttering amongst themselves. It was as if the shock from yesterday was beginning to disappear. At first, the conversations were classmates saying they were terrified because of what happened the previous day. Then it slowly turned to each one trying to encourage their classmates. However, each student looked at the empty seats of their classmates. The words felt hollow, weak, and worthless to everyone. Even with the news of their class president returning the following day, it bothered everyone that they hadn't heard anything about their green-haired friend. Katsuki checked his phone when it started to buzz. As he checked his phone, tears started to fall down his cheeks. Everyone started to get nervous due to his display of emotion. Before we get back into the story, I would like to say that we've got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes over the hard facts of the anime presented. Now, in case you guys didn't know, we have a third channel called We The Celestial Naruto What If. We The Celestial Naruto What If mainly focuses on our Naruto What If series. If you are interested in content like this, please go check the description below or click the eye icon in the top right corner. Now with that out of the way, let's get back into the story. For the first time, the atomic blonde just let his usual gruff facade fade. The fear he felt from the attack, the fear of losing a friend, the anguish of being unable to help a friend, the powerlessness he felt yesterday, and the tension he felt faded. It was his childhood friend's mother text that broke the dam. The class watched as they saw one of their own crying. To them, it appeared as if he had received bad news. "Are you all right, Bakugo?" the brunette said. The damn nerd finally woke up. His mother just spoke with him, Katsuki said as he continued crying. "I knew that bastard wouldn't die." The blonde boy let out a genuine smile as he wiped away the tears. The rest of the class started to talk excitedly to each other when they heard the good news. Very slowly, the class started talking excitedly to one another. 10 minutes later, the sleep-deprived teacher walked in with a smile on his face and appeared uncharacteristically happy. "Bakugo, Uraraka, please head to Recovery Girl's office. I won't cover anything until you get back," the teacher happily said without waiting for the class to quiet down. The teacher took out his yellow sleeping bag as he watched Katsuki and Uraraka head to the door. He waited until they closed the door before he made an announcement to the class. "Midoriya woke up earlier today. He will make a full recovery," the teacher excitedly said. With that good news, I'm going to take a nap until those two come back. Don't wake me up unless it's important. Mona started to cheer excitedly at the news. The sleep-deprived teacher opened his sleeping bag and stepped into it. Once he was leaning his back against the wall, he went to sleep. Katsuki and Uraraka were about 10 feet from the classroom when they heard their classmates erupt into a cheer. The pair decided to sprint to Recovery Girl's office. 5 minutes later, both arrived at Recovery Girl's office. The atmosphere was extremely agitated and angry. As they drew closer, the pair also noticed a hint of sadness mixed in with the anger. Confused, Katsuki knocked on the door. "I need to catch the criminal that defeated my brother," the blue-haired boy angrily shouted. "The hero killer can't have to be taken down." "Relax, young Ada," the symbol of peace said as he tried to calm the boy down. "His ideologue is wrong. However, you rushing out there will only make things worse. I can't just sit here and do nothing. I have to make sure that bastard pays for what he does," the boy with the glasses said with anger and grief in his voice. "Then make him regret his decision," the green-haired boy stuttered as he tried to intervene. "If you go after him because he attacked your brother, you will only prove him right. Show him that your older brother taught you how to be a true hero. Use this as a motivator to become what you want to be. You said that your brother was someone who could help a lot of people. Then become a hero that surpasses that." As the pair opened the door, they were greeted by Recovery Girl. The short, gray-haired nurse of UA waved the pair inside. It was clear from the expression that the nurse wore that she was displeased by the conversation. The blue-haired boy with glasses seemed to relent at his green-haired friend's words. The pair quietly walked in. "Kakhan, Uraraka, what are you guys doing here?" their green-haired friend excitedly said when he saw them. "We came to see you. You had everyone worried, you damn nerd," the blonde boy with anger issues said with a smile. "Make sure to take better care of yourself. Deku, how are you? What happened? Last time I saw you were fighting a bunch of those gnomes, but you were holding your own," the zero-gravity girl excitedly said. "He overused his quirk. Thankfully, his only major issue was the third-degree burns he had on his arms and legs," the older woman said with a frown. "Toshinori here needs to teach his students to take better care of themselves. This wasn't your typical situation. Is now really the time?" the blonde man said as he stared down at the older woman. "Yes, Mr. Symbol of Peace. Now is the perfect time," the nurse angrily stated. "I don't like how injured your students were, especially the green-haired one. I already told Aizawa that I don't want his students to take a physical exam." Toshinori, the attack on UA helped and hurt UA reputation. "Those bastards at the Hero Public Safety Commission are planning something, and it has Nezu concerned. What do those extras want?" the explosive blonde grumbled. "Nothing good, I'm guessing. Since UA is a hero school, we get most of our funding through them," All Might said with a sour expression. "If we want to keep our ability to train young aspiring heroes, we have to do what they say. Sadly, our standing with the community isn't strong enough to ignore their requests. Whatever it is they want can't be that bad, can it?" the brown-haired girl asked curiously. "They have the news talking about the Nomus in great detail. The news was forced to talk about how these Nomus were people experimented on so that they could possess multiple quirks," Recovery Girl grumbled. "Whatever they decide to do, we will find out later today." The four students stared at each other in confusion. It never occurred to them that UA, with all of the prestige it had as one of Japan's best hero schools, was on such thin ice. There was an awkward silence as everyone considered the full implications of the attack. All Might was the first one to break the silence. "No use worrying about things we can't control," the man said with a sigh, clearly expecting the worst. "I'm just happy that no one died at UA." A soft knock was heard at the door before a white-furred animal in a suit walked into the room. The fur that the principal was so proud of was messy. The suit was wrinkled in multiple places along the arms and legs. The principal even had bags under his eyes. The principal was so distracted that he ended up walking straight into the Symbol of Peace. "Sorry for bumping into you, All Might." The Safety Commission threw a major wrench into the current school year, the furry animal said with a voice full of concern. This affects them, so they might as well hear it from us first. I received a polite email from the commission saying this would be the last semester we would have pure general studies students, the principal said as he made air quotes around the word polite. You four students did amazingly well in preventing the attack on UA from being as devastating as the one at the hospital. With that being said, I'm canceling the final exams for this semester. I don't feel it's right to ask students to take an exam after the traumatic experience they just had. The four students sat there in stunned silence. They were so distracted by the first part of the principal's statement that they missed the part about the final exams. For the first time, the four students truly understood just how much power the Hero Public Safety Commission had over hero schools. The four were so distracted that they missed what Recovery Girl asked them. Young Bakugo and young Uraraka recovery girl wants you to leave so she can make sure your friends are recovering smoothly, the symbol of peace said with a smile as he walked to the door. I will walk you back to class. This way, I can explain to Aizawa the current situation. I'm sorry you had to hear the concerns us adults have regarding the changes occurring at UA. Katsuki and Uraraka were so stunned by what the principal had said that they left without a complaint. Although both wanted to talk to their friends more, neither of them had much fight in them after seeing their principal's defeated look. It wasn't until they were 20 feet away from Recovery Girl's office that they finally realized that Principal Nezu had canceled the semester's finals. I wonder if the principal canceled the finals once he found out what the commission sent him that email, the brown-haired girl wondered aloud. It probably made it an easier choice for him. Normally, he calls a staff meeting if he intends to do something so drastic, All Might said with concern evident in his voice. He likes to get our opinions on these types of things before he decides this. I know Aizawa was already considering canceling the finals for 1A. How much power do those bastards have over UA? If they just order the school. The spiky blonde-haired boy grumbled in annoyance. Based on what I know way too much, the symbol of peace said with resignation. The hero killer won't like this announcement one bit. I wonder how many students will leave UA. Because we no longer offer the educational path they want. The conversation tapered off as All Might talked about the possibility of students leaving UA because of the safety commission. Despite the bad news, both Katsuki and Uraraka were in a good mood since their close friend was away. The group made their way to Class 1 in stunned silence. The excited voices coming from 1A quickly snapped the group back into reality. All Might quickly changed into his buff form and opened the door. The blonde hero walked over to the now sleeping teacher and shook him awake. The man was very angry until he saw the concerned face of the symbol of peace. What do you want, All Might? The man grumbled as he woke up from his nap. Just wanted to give you a heads up that Nezu is canceling the final exams. The symbol of peace said with concern in his voice. You need to get more sleep, otherwise, Recovery Girl will have your head. The Safety Commission is going to be making an announcement soon regarding hero schools. Why can't those people leave well enough alone? What does the principal think of all of this? Aizawa said, suddenly alert. He's losing sleep over this. His appearance was eerily similar to yours, All Might said sadly. The messy-haired teacher stared at the symbol of peace for a moment. It took him a few moments to find the words to express his concern. Is Principal Nezu all right? This is the same person who criticized my sleeping behavior, Aizawa said with concern and shock in his voice. All Might nodded before motioning for Aizawa to turn on the news. Katsuki and Uraraka took their seats quickly as their teachers started to talk in a quiet tone of voice. The class promptly quieted down as they saw their usually unexpressive homeroom teacher display an uncharacteristic amount of emotion. It took Aizawa a few minutes to have the display on the board change to the news. The reporter was currently explaining that the Safety Commission was about to make an announcement regarding the future of all hero and support schools. The reporter stopped talking as a spokesperson from the Hero Public Safety Commission appeared at the podium. It took a few moments before everyone in the room was quiet. The spokesperson briefly greeted everyone before launching into the major announcement. Based on recent events, the Commission has decided to make the following changes to hero and support schools. The first change is that the school has to push every general study student into taking a hero or support courses if the school had that track. The second change, those schools will have to clear any extracurricular activities with us before they can offer it to their students. The third and final change is hero schools and support schools will have to require their students to live on campus. This is to make sure that the students can learn safely without worrying that they will get attacked by a villain. The spokesperson said flatly. Thank you all for watching the video to the end. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. On behalf of We The Celestials, I'd like to thank the writer of this video and editors for this video. Their details will be in the description. If you're a voice actor, editor, or writer, or you're interested in becoming one of those, go to the Discord that is in the description of this video and hit up the head of one of those areas. We're always looking for members to join us. That's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're interested and hit that like button if you liked the video. Until next time, peace out mortals, have a fantastic day.